So if you're a prohibited person or you know somebody that's a prohibited person, dude, you just lucked out. You landed on the right video. I'm going to teach you how to get your gun rights back. And if you're quick about this, by this time next year, hypothetically, you could be legally at a gun range shooting a firearm. I don't know how many years it's been for you, but I'm assuming it's probably been a while. Now, my channel got permanently demonetized for putting out informational videos just like this. So if this video really helped you out, I'd really appreciate it if you went to onlytacticalfans.shopify.com, check out my merchandise store, and see if there's anything you need there. I don't get paid for any of this. That's how I pay my bills. That's the financial backbone that keeps all of this going. Anyways, let's get into the video. To the Jumbotron of knowledge. So, all right, when does this start? That's probably the first question you're asking. That is 75 days after the federal comment drops into the registry. Now, why this is important and why you need to follow these steps and do it right now, like literally, like when you get off of this video, is because they're only taking the first 5,000 applicants to kind of test things out, see how things are going. Then they're going to take an additional 500 a little bit later. So if you want to have your gun rights by this time next year, you need to start now. Do exactly what I say. All right, first things first, I get it. AI's got a really bad name. They put slop all over YouTube, but AI does a couple of things very, very, very well. One is build resumes. The other one is dig through the government bullshit that they put and obstacles in front of you to make it so you pretty much have to use a lawyer. You need to download an AI right now. The one I recommend is ChatGPT. That's really good at document searching and going through government websites and helping you navigate that stuff. Another one people use, especially for documents, is Claude. I use ChatGPT, but there's nothing wrong with Claude. You need to download an AI. That's the only way you're going to be able to do this in time to be one of the first people to get your gun rights back. So, what the AI is going to help you do is going to help you organize your packet, build your checklist, help track everything that's going on, identify missing stuff, review everything before you submit it, and look for weak arguments or things that need to be changed. Because not only is it helping you, it's helping thousands of other people, and all that information gets compiled on how it does things. So as this process unrolls, it's going to get better and better and better at doing it because it's already done it for other people. Download the AI. Again, I would go to ChatGPT because that's the wider known one, and that's the one a lot of people are going to use, so that one's going to be best educated in how to do this process successfully. All right, so first thing, why are you prohibited? 18 U.S.C. 922 G1 is the general one, but there are other prohibits in there. So you need to figure out first, why are you prohibited? Is it a state or a federal conviction? If it's a state conviction, remember it goes back to the state laws. You may not need this. You could just go to that state and wind up getting expungement or getting your record clean or getting your rights restored. Different states do have programs in there for state cases. I'm not going to go over those because every single state is different. So first you have to determine, is this a federal problem? If it's not, then there's no reason to even do this process. You're not doing 925C. What you need to do is you need to contact the state that you got charged in, not the one you live in, the one you got charged in, and see what you have to do to get your rights back. All right, so do you even need 925C? Again, we already talked about this. If it's a state thing, contact the state first. Now, there is a specific charge. Is it on the next slide or on this one? Yes, all right, it's on the next slide. So, again, talk to the state first. Handle this on the state side. Now, if it's a federal charge, obviously you're going to have to use 925C. Now, there isn't a special exception for 920C4 if you're mental health adjudicated or committed, like a judge said you have to go to the mental health thing. They will not touch your application until you exhausted all state avenues first. So you have to go to the state first if you're under 922G4. If you fail, all the states, like you can't get it back, now they will allow you to go through 925C and try to do it federally. So with 922G4, if that's why you're prohibited, you absolutely have to exhaust the state options first. All right, should you apply yet? So there's a couple of different buckets. We're going to go over those real quick. You need to know what bucket you fit in before you apply. The 5-year bucket, this is for your general 922Gs, nonviolent offenses, offenses that don't have a victim in it, stuff like that. Generally, you need to wait 5 years after you've served your conviction. So, like for example, for me, I got 8 years. That's 5 in, 3 out. 5 in, 3 out. So once I get done with the probation, now I didn't actually have to sit the full 8 years, but once I get done with the probation and the judge releases me, it's 5 years from that point, not 5 years from when I get convicted. So you have to finish all your penalty first, and then go. It's 5 years. But that's the catch-all. The general is they're not going to do it unless it's under 5 years. Now, there is extraordinary circumstances where you can apply. Remember, all these rules are fluid. There's no really hard, like, this statute needs to be this long. So you can even apply before the 5 years, but you need to give a really good reason why. Now you got the 10-year bucket. This is for firearms offenses, explosive offenses, drug trafficking, threats of violence, stuff like that. Like, it's not quite hardcore, but you're dabbling. That's the 10 years. So, any sort of threats of violence, again, firearms, drugs. Now, firearms, like for example, my case, where it's the auto key card and it's technically a firearms case, should everything go sideways, I'm going to apply at 5 years and be like, hey, when you look at my case, you'll see there was no actual firearms transferred. I was wrapped in a conspiracy for making a YouTube video. I'd apply at the 5-year mark. I might even apply before that. I don't know. But that's what I'm saying, like, know what's going on. They've put out quite a bit of guidance, but there's still a lot of questions being said, and they've made it very clear this isn't statute-based. So 2 people, for example, let's say this guy right here, he got trafficking cocaine, we'll say 2 pounds. This guy right here got trafficking cocaine, 2 pounds. This guy right here, this was his first offense. He programmed through prison. He got out. He's got a house, a family pet. He's never been in trouble again. This guy right here, this was not his first offense. While he was in prison, he got multiple shots. He did not program. When he got out, he got in a fist fight at a bar. Then he got an OWI after that. And yeah, it's been 5 years since that charge right there. This guy is definitely not going to get his stuff back, and this guy is, even though they're the exact same charge. So remember, it's not penal code. They're looking at the entire situation of facts. So, serious offenses. This is serious violence, contains firearms or explosions. What they say is the presumption is these will be disqualified. Now, that's saying the presumption. It's not saying it is. So, if you're like, hey, yeah, you know what? When I was 18, I had a violent offense. XYZ happened, okay? Now I'm 54. I haven't had anything happen since that point. I've got grandchildren now. I found God. I'm the pastor at this church. Yes, this was violent in some way. I mean, I don't want to give an example, but an offense that normally people would get approved for, but because of how I am now, I can get approved for that. So any offense, if you have the clear fact pattern, apply. Even if you don't think you should, you need to apply. If you're like, hey, my life is not the life that went behind bars for that violent offense, and you can prove that and you can show it, you need to apply. Now, build your packet. So this is what the AI is going to help you with. Don't wait for the period. Remember, only 5,000 people are going to be going in the right away. You need to start now. Gather everything you need. Court records, documents, your J&C, that's judgment and commitment, plea agreements, base offense, sentencing records, what actually happened while you were incarcerated, did you program, did you get any shots, criminal history records, any other GOJ records you can go through. The AI will help you determine which ones you're actually going to need. More is better, I believe, in this case. Let the AI build your checklist. Give the AI the link to the website where it says the qualifications on there so it can go through and read it, and it'll make you a checklist. This is what you're going to do first. This is what you're going to do second. This is what you're going to do third. That's how you're going to quantify it and be able to do it. This is how it gets easier. Remember, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. The AI is going to give you one bite, then the next bite, and the next bite. And you're going to go right down this checklist and do everything you need to do to get your packet ready. Get all the needed requirement documents in hand first. Dates, missing records, organize everything, and get ready to have it submitted before your application starts. Because once you start your application, you have 30 days to finish it. If you do not finish it in the 30 days, you need to start over. So have everything done, have the AI build the checklist, go through the checklist before you even go on the website and start the process. All right, get all the documents. Now, if you cannot get a document, document that you can't get that document. Don't just leave it out. So be like, hey, I tried to get this. They replied back. You're basically going to have to give a sworn statement why you couldn't give that document. So we're going to try to get the documents. If we can't get it, make sure to document that you can't get it and have a fact pattern they can follow to be like, okay, he did try. He can't get that particular document. DOJ is not very flexible on this stuff. They are flexible on the records if you document it, but when they say they want a document, you better have a document. So again, you're going to have a sworn explanation why you couldn't get that document. So keep proof. You tried, you failed, here's the proof that I tried, and here's the reason why I failed. Next, you need 3 references. These cannot be related to by blood or marriage. They have to be people not related at all. They can't be family in any way, shape, or form. So you need these before you apply. You need to talk to them before you apply. Again, they cannot be blood, they cannot be marriage, they must know you for at least 3 years. They cannot be prohibited people themselves, and they need to be willing to participate in this process. It's going to be a process, and they need to know it's a process, so don't use a lazy reference. Use somebody that you know is motivated. This is where your CEOs, stuff like that, like people that you know have the drive to get shit done. That's the type of reference you need because they're going to have to be active in this. All right, your references truly, truly do matter. Their statements are going to be sworn and under the penalty of perjury. So that's enough to scare a lot of people away. So make sure they believe in you. Again, pick people like business owners, stuff like that, like people that you know are motivated, active, and willing to fight on your behalf. So they're going to be asking different questions like, does he have any violence in his life? Has he ever threatened anyone? Does he use drugs or alcohol? Is he a danger with a firearm? What is he like around people? How long have you known him? And they're going to submit all this information to the DOJ. Now, when can you actually apply? Again, the rule was announced August 17, 2026, but it hasn't dropped yet. Once it drops, it's 75 days after the public dropping. So, again, 5,000 people, get ready now. Do not wait. Once this rule drops, you need to be on top of it. So at 12:01, when they open it up, you're one of the first people because the goal here is so this time, next year, you're legally shooting a firearm at a range. All right, so the application fee is $30, which that's actually pretty reasonable. Now, if you cannot pay this, they do have programs out there, like if you can prove that you're that broke that you can't pay it, don't worry, they will waive the fee. The fee is not refundable. It's just the way it is. All right, so now everything's done. We're going to file your application, Form 1123-017. Answer everything accordingly, answer everything correctly. The DOJ will probably request other information. Double check everything before you hit submit. Have the AI double check everything. Remember, the AI is good at this stuff. Lean on it, but verify. All right, so fingerprints will come up. Do not get your fingerprints yet. You're gonna hear a lot of people talk about fingerprints. Don't do that yet. You need to submit the application first, then they're gonna reply back with a QR code and I believe a link. Now, what you're gonna do with that is you need to take it to qualifying USPS stores. This the post office. Only certain post offices can do it, and they're only allowing post offices to do it. So you need to figure out what post offices can and can't do it, and they're going to electronically fingerprint you with that QR code, and that's going to get sent in. So you're going to submit your application, you're going to wait to get the QR code, then you're going to do your fingerprints. After you do your fingerprints, now your references are going to be contacted. Make sure you're on your references' asses. Did you check your email today? Did you hear anything from the DOJ? Okay? Tomorrow, did you check your email? Did you hear anything from the DOJ? You need to be on them. Don't let them screw this part up. This is still in your control. You pick these people out. You pick them out because they're motivated, but still stay on it. Don't get screwed over because your reference isn't replying back and forth with the DOJ's emails, because they will be contacted. All right, so the DOJ does its homework. Like I said, they are going to contact the people, so expect that to happen. Again, they're going to be looking at probation, all that stuff. They're going to be looking at who you are. And that's what they're looking for today. Who are you today? Are you likely to commit another dangerous act? Is it in the public best interest for you to be armed? So they're going to be looking at everything as a whole. Again, I already said it once, but it needs to be said again. The actual charge doesn't matter. What you are today is what matters. Yes, the actual charge can be a little bit harder to get over with. Like, it's hard to be like, oh, I sat in prison for 20 years because I murdered someone, but now I want a gun back. Like that. And that's a little bit hard to get by. But again, try anyways. All right, so watch your email. The DOJ will contact you. They will probably ask for additional information. This is a good sign. If they're talking to you, they're working on your case. They haven't just hit you with the deny button. You want to get other emails. So keep an eye on that. You don't want to miss these emails. Keep a copy of everything. All right, so what happens if you get denied? This is where the lawyer comes in. If you get denied, first look at the reason why. If they're like, hey, you got to wait a little bit longer, then okay, you wait a little bit longer. If that's not the case, then maybe you mix up some sort of information, something like that. But again, if you get denied, this is where the lawyer would come in. This is where you want to have a paid lawyer look at your information. Be like, hey, you made a mistake here, or this is what we should say, or this is what we should reply to, or this is what we should do. You can do everything yourself. I strongly recommend this is where the lawyer would come in. If you get approved, hooray, you're good to go. But don't buy a gun yet. There's a catch. So you need to check your state. Different states have different laws. For example, Wisconsin, I cannot have anything as a convicted felon that shoots a projectile with an explosion, including black powder. From Florida, I think you can't have anything with a trigger. I don't know the different states. Every state's a little bit different. You need to look at the state and be like, hey, am I prohibited? For example, for me, if I got the 925C, I'd be looking at Wisconsin and I'd be like, all right, so I'm prohibited on a state level. This covers you on a federal level. This does not cover you on a state level. So Wisconsin even does state level background checks with a handgun. I would not be able to pass that even if I got 925C. I could pass the 4473 that would go to the feds, but if I got pulled over and I had a gun, the state of Wisconsin would go after me with federal felon in possession with a firearm, and I'd go to state prison. So if your state does not have that, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to hit any sort of state remedies. Contact your governor, see if there's any sort of remedies in place. If there's not, well, that sucks. That really does suck. If you can't do anything on a state level, you got a couple of different options. The big one is move. I heard Texas is pretty nice this time of year. Find a state where they don't have state laws, and there are states out there. I would just move to one of those states if you could. Again, you could have a lawyer try to go on your behalf, get a rights restoration lawyer. I'm sure there's specific lawyers in your state. But again, if all that fails and there's just no way to get the state approval on a felon with a firearm, move. That's what you got left for options. All right, so don't wait until the 75 days starts. You need to be ready now. 12:01 on that day. Hit submit on your packet. Again, have the AI help you get everything together now. This way it's ready to go then. Now, this needs to be said, I am not a lawyer. I am not giving you legal advice. And if you take legal advice from me, you're stealing. So all I'm doing is I'm going through the guidance that they put out there to help you guys get ready so you can get it at 12:01, and hopefully by this time of the year, next year, you'll be legally shooting a firearm at a gun range. Anyways, appreciate you guys watching my video. Again, if you'd like to help support the channel, OnlyTechFans@Shopify.com is the best way to do that. Now, if you want to support the channel but you don't want to spend any extra money, the next best way to do that is go down in the description, click on that Amazon affiliate link. Even if you don't buy what that link is for, just clicking on it. Do the Amazon shopping you were literally already going to do anyway. I'll kick back for it because you came there off my channel. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe.